have Lori, first of all, just place up on the screen the comparator city work hours. This came about when I believe Ms. Dewey gave me a call or an email actually that some citizens were concerned about the noise on weekends. And these are weekend hour concerns, I think, as much as anything.
Totally.
But certainly up to city council to talk about construction hours generally. But I think the email was specific to weekend hours. And, Kirkwood's hours are 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. We're at the bottom in pink. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday, and 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Sunday. So basically, we go through 8 p.m. every day of the week. And with only a slight fluctuation of 2 hours later to start on Sunday. If you look at the other cities, there's a good range of how things are treated. A number of them end at 5 p.m. on Sundays. Some don't allow any work on Sundays whatsoever. So, there's a balancing act to be had here. And I think Jonathan can get into that a little bit. But when you lessen the hours, then sometimes the project is going to take longer to complete. So I think you try to have a good, fair approach to it. And it's certainly up to city council to determine what's appropriate for the citizens of Kirkwood and, to put your ear to the ground and try to figure out what would work best. So I'm going to pass it over to Jonathan just to talk about the things that are entailed here, and let's hear from Jonathan.
Thanks, Russ. So yeah, I think we were provided the same email from a resident from Councilmember Dewey, and I think the email, if I remember correctly, and please, Councilmember Dewey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the resident was asking really specifically about evening hours on weekends and maybe shortening that. I think that's maybe a couple hours. From to 6 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. And
correct.
So we looked. Jack Shank, our building commissioner, went out and got this information that Lori just showed, and I think the evening hours for weekends, honestly, from those that I've talked to, it seems like there's probably a decent reason to reduce those. If there's if anything, I think morning hours are more important to professional construction companies, especially. And when you look at the table, the other thing I'll mention is that I think a lot of this evening hours, and it's still debatable, but I think communities tend to offer these actually for homeowners doing work on their own properties as well. You have to think about that on evenings and weekends. So those are just some things to consider. Other things I'll point out, when the chart that, just for everybody's kind of summarizing it, Monday through Friday, we're really in the middle of the pack. There were five other communities that were equally or less restrictive than we are, 6 communities that were more restrictive. Then when you get into the weekends, we started to get to the less restrictive end. There were 2 or 3 communities that were on the same page as us out of the 11, and then 8 or 9 being more restrictive. So I think those are the main points that I wanted to bring to the table.
Maggie, you brought this to the.
I was approached. Sure, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead. You go ahead and go first. Yeah.
I was approached by a resident, and he was concerned about in the summer, having dinner on his back porch, having anything in his backyard. And certainly at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock, that's dinner. And I think sitting or entertaining on a porch or in a backyard, and have hammering and whatever they're doing, if they're building a house next to you, would certainly ruin a weekend evening. And I think just the 2 hours, 3 times a week is pretty reasonable.
Any other comments, questions from council? Kara.
Yeah, so this is just commercial right? This would just be commercial construction. No, so this would be like if I'm
To everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So to that point, I'm definitely in favor of kind of keeping as someone that works 8 to 5, right? Like we come home at like 5:36, and that's kind of the time we have, whether it be Nate's putting a gazebo up in the backyard or, things like that. Like that's our time to work on our home. But that being said, we're not going to do it at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. I think we'd all be in favor of cutting back a few hours. And then to the other point, even though this isn't just for commercial, we're having a house across the street that has construction going on right now. And like on Saturdays when there's just trucks everywhere, it gets a little hard to enjoy your street when it's almost like a work day, so it'd be kind of nice to give the rest of the residents a little bit of relief on the weekends and such. So that's just my 2 cents.
Great.
Wallace.
Yeah, so I think most of this has been a pet peeve of mine for some time. But I guess I'd rather have kind of a graduated approach to this. The low hanging fruit would be the seasonal start times. We initially moved this up to 7 a.m. because the construction workers wanted to avoid the heat in the depths of the summer. So having a reasonable start for that hot period at 7 a.m. and then sunset it when we get into the fall when it's not going to be that hot, and then maybe move that time to 8 a.m. And for the homeowner end of the thing, you've got daylight till 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can see where homeowners would want to be able to exercise that time as much as possible. So I guess I really wouldn't want to get into unless we can find some way to segregate a homeowner from, I think to Kara's point, we probably could regulate deliveries. Couldn't we, Dan? Would it be possible to prohibit commercial deliveries to those sites on the weekends, which would eliminate the big trucks and hauling out?
Well, that's going to be more difficult, Wallace, as you can imagine, because now you're talking about what if I want my refrigerator delivered to me on a weekend?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to come in a truck. What if I've got somebody picking up from Goodwill? That's going to be in a truck. So how are you going to distinguish
Mm-hmm.
the truck that's delivering lumber from the truck that's delivering my refrigerator? The delivery trucks, and I understand Kara's point, they're annoying, particularly on the weekends, they get in the way. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head how we could address that. We can talk to Jonathan about that, but just characterizing delivery trucks as having times that they're restricted, I suggest it's going to be problematic.
And I meant more like the workers trucks, because you have like HVAC guys that are there for 4 or 5 hours. You've got, electricians that are there. And then you have like 3 vans and trucks taking up spaces on the weekend. So that was kind of more my point, and less the delivery, but yeah.
Let's see. Mark, your hand is up.
Yeah, I think there's opinions on both sides of this. I think it's going to be very hard to make everybody happy. I would be interested in starting out by maybe looking at the weekend hours and maybe looking at scaling back on Saturday and go from there.
All right, Bob, your hand was up next. So.
Is there a legal reason why we would not be able to distinguish between a person who owns the home working on their home and a contractor?
Yes. And the long answer is because you're basing this regulation on public health safety, and we're all entitled to some peace and harmony in our home. So what's the difference if Kara is banging on wood, or if I'm paying Joe Smith to come in and hammer. The noise is still the same. So the basis upon which we're establishing this is disturbance. So how is the disturbance any different if I'm doing the work myself or if I'm hiring a third party? That's the problem. And we've had this discussion.
I understand. To me, there's a big difference, but I understand the legal thing. I mean, if I look over and see my neighbor building, repairing his fence, I'm not nearly as bothered as someone's roofing a house,
Couldn't agree more.
A contractor.
Yeah.
So, but
You'd probably pick up a hammer and go help them.
Yeah.
Or putting on an addition, building a new garage with a big all that.
Yeah.
At least bring in a couple of beers over.
They don't intend to do that. They don't tend to do that, though.
Liz.
Well, I am in favor of limiting evening hours, and I'd even would be in favor of during the week. I had a group of ladies on my deck one Wednesday evening, and there was a bulldozer catty corner going. We couldn't hear each other. I mean, and that was a weekday. And actually, when you showed it that it goes till 8, I thought it only went till 7. So I am all in favor of doing weekends, and I would be in favor of looking at weekday as well.
I don't see much, if any, opposition to the Saturday, Sunday going from, is it 8 right now, Jonathan? So like going from, move it from 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. I don't see anybody objecting to that. Is that correct?
Not object. I just have, I think it included Friday as well. As a weekend evening. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And could we do 5 o'clock? I'm sorry, my evening starts at 5.
Well, that makes all the difference in the world.
Jonathan, what do we have now? Is it for
Right now the hours are, the evening hours go to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. It's just the start time that delays a little bit on Sunday. So Monday through Saturday are 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday is 9 a.m. to 8 p.m.
I definitely have no problem with Saturday, Sunday. Friday, I mean, you've got to give the homeowners, and that's really who's working at night for the most part, some opportunity. Yeah, Liz, for the most part, it's not your construction workers. I know that some do, but for the most part, it's not the construction companies working it on Saturday and Sunday night. It's, I'm just thinking of Friday, so that if Kara and Nate want to work on their gazebo, they might want to do that. So I mean, I would be okay with, at least for now, Saturday and Sunday moving that to 6.
Yeah, I think starting with that and seeing how it goes, we can always revisit it, but
Jonathan, do you have
to make everybody
the
happy.
email from the resident in front of you? Because I thought it was just, his request was just Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I do. He did mention specifically Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
he
thought
did?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I have the same email. So
Okay, understood. Wallace?
Yeah, could we not consider the seasonal start times? I don't see a reason why January 1, you need to start at 7 a.m., which means some of your guys show up at 6 a.m.
And leave their trucks running and.
Yeah.
that's true.
So if we move them down to 8.
Why don't we leave that for a bigger conversation? Just because I know DePere tried to do that in the last year or two, and they ended up with some problems and then going back to 7 a.m. So, I mean, I'd rather have a bigger discussion on that.
And, I'm sorry.
You can't see, you got a big glare.
I know, I've been trying to fix it.
Oh,
The,
that's good right there.
Go that way a little bit, Bob.
Yeah, go further to your left.
That's better.
Perfect.
Perfect.
I'll do shadow puppets on the, so
There you go.
keep in mind, it was mentioned earlier, but I have always thought with any restriction, it delays the project. And so I prefer that my neighbors get their project done, bother me for weeks in a row, and then they're gone. But I get it. I mean, I understand the issue. You miss a Saturday night in your backyard, and that's a Saturday night lost, and you don't get it back. But the construction goes longer if you cut times, whether it's shaving off in the mornings or evenings, wherever you shave it.
That's flawed logic, Bob. It's total man hours. You don't change the total man hours, and Carol will tell you that. The job, the number of weeks that might be there would change, but the total number of hours to complete that work doesn't change, which means
no, but if you make your days, I get it. If you make your days shorter though, the number of weeks grows. That's what I'm talking about.
But so the total, but the point is the total time of the insult does not change. So you know, pick your poison. Do you want to be able to sleep that morning, or get up to the bulldozer, or have it stretch, another 2 days into another month, and still get your sleep in that next month? From a health standpoint, especially for so many of us who have young children, and we know what sleep deprivation has how that's impacted kids in schools. You're talking about changing their start times because of the detriment that they have with kids getting up so early.
Wallace, you affirmed my logic.
That's scary all on its own.
Yeah, that concerns me. That's very concerning, Bob.
Because I was talking about delaying the end of the project.
All right. So we talked about Saturday, Sunday, and all in all, Friday, I don't really see an issue. Does anybody have an issue changing it to, because this obviously will come to us in legislation, changing Friday, Saturday, Sunday to 6 p.m. Okay. All right. John Hessel, you see no issue with that, do you?
Do not see any issue. This subject has been discussed before, and it's purely up to the city council.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see a proposal, but I'm not affirming any particular configuration.
No, we've got legislation. I mean, this is just conversation to bring it up, and we'd actually have to have legislation to do that.
Right. Bob, did you just say you're not for it, but you're not against it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Well,
So would we like
he's
to-
half in, half out.
So we would like to see legislation at a future meeting with basically with those parameters.
We'll do it.
Right?
Okay, Mayor, I will, it's the consensus of the council. I'll work on drafting legislation for the first meeting in May.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Perfect.
Very good.
Yeah, that's great.
Any other business at this work session?
No, Mayor, that's all.
All right, I guess we want to turn it back to Bob and Wallace for the Bob and Wallace show. Bob disappeared on us though. So
I've got some.
I think the show's over.
I was going to say.
I've still disappeared.
I got to run outside. There's a dump truck coming down the street there. I got to talk.
All right.
Time to beat it.
This meeting's adjourned. We'll see everybody for the regular meeting in just a little while. See ya.
All right.
will be recited by Councilmember Zimmer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mark. Roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Here.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Here.
Councilmember Ward.
Here.
Councilmember Wertz,
Here.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Here.
Councilmember Sears,
Here.
Councilmember Dewey.
Here.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Hessel, would you like to enter in a minutes a statement about meeting remotely, please?
I would, Mayor, as the announcement of the meeting reflects section 610.015 of the Missouri Sunshine Law provides that members of the city council who are not physically present in the council chambers can participate and vote on all matters when an emergency exists and the nature of the emergency is stated in the minutes. So I'd ask that the minutes reflect that we are still in this pandemic, COVID-19. Hopefully we'll be out of it soon, that the city council is meeting remotely for their own safety as well as the safety of the general public.
Thank you, John. Next, we have Amanda Shear, Chair of the Human Rights Commission. She will present the 2019 to 2020 annual reports. And I think I see Amanda getting on right now.
Sorry, my computer's messing up.
No,
Hi,
hello,
everyone. How are
Amanda.
you?
Oh,
Hello.
thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me once again.
Absolutely.
We're going to be going back in time a little bit, and I'm going to be presenting our 2019
Right.
and 2020 annual report. In 2019, the beginning was a little rocky. Our chair at the time, Dennis Hart, was battling ALS and was taking a toll. And unfortunately, we lost him in the middle of the summer. So with his departure as he termed off, I was voted in as chair, Bob Boyd remained vice chair, and Judy Motika joined the slate of officers as secretary. Later that year, we welcomed new members, returning member Paul Ward and new member Vernita Carrier. Our essay contest that year for the juniors at the Kirkwood Juniors, the prompt was centered around implicit bias and their role in that. And Harvard actually put out a whole bunch of implicit bias tests. If you haven't taken the opportunity to take them, I would highly suggest doing it. It teaches you a lot about yourself and your own implicit bias. The previous year's winner of the essay contest read her essay at the MLK celebration at the, and we had an informational table at that event as well. The KHRC Annual Award of Excellence was awarded to Robinson's own principal, Jennifer Sissel, and Council Julie Owen. They were nominated by two mothers for their support of their two transgender children. In 2019, our art fair contest turned into an art fair exhibit and had a much larger turnout, and along with the library, it was an amazing exhibit and some really great art by our middle school students. A lot of work in the second half of 2019 really centered around trying to understand our relationship in the community and learning that there was a lot of mistrust between us as a KHRC and the city government and the community at large. I began talking with Reverend David Bennett, who many of you know, about ways we could combat this and ways to tackle that problem head on. We also learned a lot about the Sunshine Law in 2019, as John Hessel knows. He was very instrumental. He came and gave us a Sunshine Law 101. We devoted an entire meeting to it because we were learning we were doing some things wrong. Unfortunately, because of the implications of the Sunshine Law, we had to disband our Diverse Abilities Subcommittee, and the KHRC subsumed that work. And I hope that when the 2021 annual report is given to you, you will hear a lot more about initiatives coming from that work. 2020 began with our essay contest, which centered around the election. In February, we had an offsite meeting with Reverend David Bennett to talk about ways to get into the community and learn more about the needs of the community members as it relates to human rights. We also welcomed new Commissioner Jeannie Webdell around that time. At our March meeting, we came up with the most amazing ideas of how we could go out into the community. This is 2020 March, second week of 2020. And we were going to go out into the community and go to different PTO meetings and do all this great stuff. And then literally the next week, the city shut down and the state shut down because of COVID. And we obviously had to rethink our strategy. So we took a bit of a break and then began meeting again virtually in July. I was reelected as chair. Judy Motika became vice chair and Jeff Morrison was elected as secretary. We said at that time goodbye to Commissioners Josh Lewis and William Winter, who had both served their 2 terms. And we said goodbye to Vernita Carrier, who elected to step down after 1 term. In August, we welcomed 3 brand new commissioners, Carolyn Becker, Michelle Cole, and Margie Palazzolo, who have already proven to be an amazing asset to our team. In the fall, we really hit the ground running and scheduled 7 different events along with Kirkwood United Methodist Church to register voters. And we notarized almost 100 absentee ballots at those events during a month period of time. And we had a first-time voter come, which was really, really exciting as well. During the year, we met with the Clayton Community Equity Commission to see how we could work together to foster human growth in human rights in the St. Louis area. Roberta Brooke-Woods, as you know, was nominated as the newly named Dennis Hart Award of Excellence. Dr. Howard Fields from the school district met with us and spoke about the Equity Task Force. Many of us attended a verbal judo training, which is a de-escalation training by Sergeant Enbach, I apologize, of the Kirkwood Police Department. And many of us learned new ways to deal with our children. We selected our prompt for the essay contest for this year, and winners have already been selected. And our hope is, the word on the street is that the city council will be meeting in person soon. And so our hope is to present these winners their awards at a physical city council meeting. This will likely be the last time you see me as chair of the Kirkwood Human Rights Commission. My term, both terms are ending and I'm stepping down. And I wanted to thank the council specifically for appointing and reappointing me. I've really enjoyed my time serving the city and I've just loved working on the Human Rights Commission. So thank you very much. And that's all I've got.
Tim, you're on mute.
You're muted, Mayor. Mayor, you're muted.
Tim, you're on mute.
There you go.
I cannot believe that. Well, my point, you could see what I just want to thank you. You put so much time, energy, and effort into this and have just done a wonderful, wonderful job as a member and as chair. And you're going to be missed. So,
thank you.
Maggie, as liaison, would you like to?
Yes, I would just second what the mayor said. Amanda, you are amazing. I remember these 6-7 years ago when then Mayor Art McDonald asked me to check you out to see if you would be good for an appointment. I came back to him and said, absolutely 2 thumbs. So thank you for all that you've done in these 6 years. It's been amazing.
Thank you all. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Any other council comments or questions? Bob.
Bob, you're muted again.
I was
Hello.
waiting.
He's just waiting.
Hello. Good to see you. I will say it was a fantastic report, and your delivery of it and the substance of it show why you've been such a great addition to the committee.
Thank you.
I think the thing tonight is you have to be muted, start talking, and then have everybody tell you you're done. Well,
yeah, I'd also like to echo that and thank you so much for your service. And then as a reminder, we have another 19 other opportunities for boards and commissions that you could participate
What's
in.
that?
So
I'll
don't
make a
think-
note of that, Wallace.
Or Amanda, there's this election coming up in April.
I'm going to spend some time with my kids for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's spoken like a true politician.
She's got
Anything
those
else from-
verbal judo skills now, so.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anything else from council? All right. Well, Amanda, again, thank you so much for your report and for
Thank you.
your long time service time and everything on the Human Rights Commission. Thank you.
Thank
Wish
you.
you all
Thank
the
you all.
best.
It's a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Amanda.
And
Bye. Thanks, John. Bye.
All right. Next order of business is we have a public hearing, which is a request for a special use permit for Randall's Wines and Spirits to operate a liquor store at 10441 and 10451 Manchester Road. Mr. Hessler, do you wish to enter any exhibits into the record?
I would, Mayor, I would offer as Exhibit 1, the affidavit of publication verifying that notice of public hearing appeared in the St. Louis County. And Exhibit 2 is the affidavit of publication verifying notice of public hearing appeared in the Webster Kirkwood Times. Exhibit 3 is the list of property owners to whom notice of this hearing has been sent. Exhibit 4 is the viewer map showing the property that is the subject of the public hearing as well as the surrounding properties. Exhibit 5 is a report of the Planning and Zoning Commission dated March 18, 2021, in which the commission unanimously recommended approval of a special use permit for Randall's Wine and Spirits to operate a liquor store at 10441 and 10451 Manchester Road. And Exhibit 6 is a report to the Planning and Zoning Commission from Amy Lowry, setting forth the rationale for the proposal as well as the recommendation for approval. Exhibit 7 is the Code of Ordinances of the City of Kirkwood.
Thank you, John. Mr. Hawes, who will present this to the council?
That would be City Planner 2, Amy Lowry.
Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen for a short presentation. And this is, again, case number PZ 8-21-10451 Manchester Road, a special use permit for a liquor store for Randall's Wine and Spirits. And this is going on the Easy Storage site, and it's going in the main building. It's just a photo of the site recently, and this is already out of date because the outbuilding is already being put up on the left-hand side of the property. So just a overall site plan for the property with the existing building and then the two outbuildings plus the parking plan. I'll have a better parking plan later. Here it is. So this liquor store requires 33 parking spaces under our code, and Easy Storage has nicely color coded the parking to the use. So the purple spaces are what will be set aside for the liquor store. You've already approved the Burn Boot Camp, which is the light blue with the parking here, and then the Easy Storage building. This is just an interior view of the tenant space. Obviously, they'll have finishings on the inside for their product, but they're proposing, 2 restrooms and a break room in the back. And I just wanted to explain that this is 10441 and 10451 because originally we assigned addresses for this tenant space there in case they had 2 tenants. They're having just 1 tenant, but we'd like to keep both addresses in there just so we can track it. So someday if the tenant space were split out again, we'd know that there originally were 2 tenant spaces there. They are proposing hours of Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Sunday from noon to 6. And these are in line with the easy storage hours that are from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. We had suggested in the special use permit hours of 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Just to give them a little bit of flexibility on their hours. The petitioner will have 10 employees with 5 on the maximum shift. And so what we have tonight is the public hearing as required for the special use permit. And then we'll need 2 additional meetings for voting on the recommended proposed ordinance. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And the applicant, Todd Randall, is here tonight. And with the mayor and council's consent, he'd like to give a short PowerPoint presentation that highlights his business.
No, that's fine. I was going to ask if the applicant wanted to say anything. So you're welcome to, Todd.
If Freddie would maybe, yeah, I think he's doing that. And I'm going to pull up his presentation as well and scroll through that as he speaks. So let me do that again.
Sorry, I apologize. Just getting set up. First off, I apologize. It was a finger on the 104.51 was, I think, what we submitted to Amy in regards to this. But mayor, city council members, I appreciate you guys giving me the chance to be able to present this in regards to a project that we hope obviously to gain approval on and kind of move forward with so far. But obviously wanted to give you a quick overview of our company. Obviously, Amy can provide this in more detail. Obviously started by my father 20 years ago, operates several stores throughout St. Louis. Next one, my apologies, not trying to speed through it. We have 4 stores now currently, 1 in Fairview Heights, 1 in South City, 44 in Jefferson, another 1 in West County, and then 1 in North County. So this would obviously be the 5th one as well. Things we do that's a little bit different is trying to expand more of importing our own wines, just to kind of bring those family wineries from Europe. So something we focus on recently as of a couple of years now, which has gone very well. Next one, if you don't mind, ma'am. Obviously the location again, as I'm sure most of you are aware, please disregard the 6 as it should have been a 5, correct? Next one, if you don't mind, ma'am. And then obviously the same as the beginning presentation, we would obviously still need to seek approval in regards to the sign, but just wanted to give you a little bit of outlay of what we anticipated would look like. Obviously the current tenant or the current owners, excuse me, have already gone through with a lot of the landscape in front there. Predominantly the only thing left is just the sign at the front. And obviously, so you guys can see what the inside would look like a little bit. Working with Kent Store Fixtures, who's done a lot of the bigger box across the country, as well as a lot of the big ones in Canada. They actually did a fellow friends, one up at the top there, Mike's in Kansas City. And he came obviously with good recommendations. So I've been working with him to kind of replicate a similar format for what he's done for this store too, just because I really thought he did a fantastic job with his build out in Kansas City. Same hours she hit on before. We'd run the same for all stores. We've never been a open early, open late kind of store. We've always kind of been 10 to 8, 10 to 9, 12 to 6. Occasionally during holiday, we've had it to where it's maybe been open till 9, but predominantly we don't venture outside of these hours. We're just pretty firm on them just so everyone can have time to go home, be with their family, do what they have to do. And it's not a 2 a.m. midnight thing, because obviously coming to that time, I think most people are at home. Things that we don't offer at other stores that would be the same here, just to kind of help reassure everyone. We don't do tall boys. We don't do a lot of the pints, half pints. We're not really a quick stop location. So that's kind of been one of the ones in the past that everyone's a little bit reserved about. So I wanted to obviously highlight this aspect of it, as that's not really our goal. It's obviously the consumer experience that we're after. So just to reassure, this is stuff that obviously we wouldn't have at our location, as we don't do it at the others either. Just a quick overview, obviously family-friendly place. We've been a mom and pop shop since '98, and it's transitioned in the past couple of years from my father down to myself. So obviously, I think we do a great job with employees. Obviously, ID big time. It's a privilege to have one of these licenses, so you can't take it for granted. Got to make sure you ID to a T. The same thing with well lit. We want our customers as well as our employees to feel safe in the locations. So ensuring that everything's well lit and safe for everyone too. And then just kind of highlighting a couple things we do at the other stores we've done. We do a lot of sponsorships with, whether it's different parades or event. We're doing Rose Day in Central West End, the Wine Walk on the Hill. I mean, you name it. I try to get involved because to me, I mean, we're selling wine and spirits and other stuff. To me, it's all about being part of the community and branching out a little bit. That's, I think, what makes us drastically different than anyone else. Single barrel stuff, we've kind of gotten big in the past years as it's gotten pretty exciting in that category. So stuff we do, and then really try to do more educational stuff with the wine and cocktail classes, trying to cross promote with restaurants, really big on that, just because to me, it helps educate consumers. And that's what's different compared to, say, going to the grocery store where you're picking it up. I want people to truly understand what they're drinking and be educated, because that's what makes us different. And then the same thing kind of, and then obviously just a few things. No, you're good, ma'am.
Okay.
We can continue. I apologize. Same things we've won. I mean, we've been very lucky every year with Sauce Magazine to win that. Riverfront Times several times. This past year, a top 100 retailer from a local industry magazine. So it's nice to be recognized, but obviously I think we couldn't do it without obviously my staff as well as the customers too. So trying to still stay cutting edge and be on top of it. And I hope this kind of helps show that. And then that was, sorry, quick overview. Obviously, if anyone else has questions, same thing I've told Amy from day one. You can reach me personally by cell phone, by email. I have it all the time. So if there's ever any questions, I want everyone to feel comfortable and make sure they have any questions they may have answered and heard. So I appreciate it, Mayor and City Council, for letting me give that quick presentation. So if you don't know about us, you kind of do a little bit now.
Thank you, Todd. Hey, hang on and we'll see if council has questions for you or Amy. Do we have any questions for Todd or for Amy on this? I see one hand, Councilmember Ward.
Yeah, thanks, Todd, for a nice presentation. I have a question in the presentation that you sent us. I know you have 2 internet sites, and I'm concerned at how those internet sales may or may not impact traffic flow or patterns at this proposed site. Assuming that the demographics here may be somewhat different than the others, have you kind of contemplated what your expectations would be?
In regards to, sorry, I apologize.
Internet sales on either of the 2 sites that you have.
So through Internet Wine, so we do that's predominantly throughout the country. None of that's really local. Shop Randall's is local, which we do delivery, which we're currently doing delivery and pickup through, which as obviously through the pandemic has kind of exploded quite some bit. But pickup was very big during the beginning of the pandemic, but has slowly kind of tailed off a little bit as I think more people want to get out in the environment a little bit. But do I think it's going to, I guess, I'm sorry, I don't understand exactly the question. Like, is it going to,
I think that I'm just wondering if you're going to have a high frequency of, as say, I don't know what services you may use, DoorDash or,
we actually do it in-house.
Do it in-house? Okay.
Yes, sir. We've done that through downtown, which predominantly is most of our deliveries, as well as West. We've done it in-house just because we can control it more and we understand. Illinois, just due to that, we have used DoorDash just as of recently. Which it's kind of in a trial phase just to have it as an overflow. But really, I kind of like keeping it more in-house just because we can train our employees. We know what's going on. There's a lot more responsibility that I feel like I can control if it's in-house compared to if it's serviced outside just to make sure. Because like I said, it is a privilege to have a license that you have to renew every year. So if I don't do a good job, we could be doing great business wise, but if I don't make sure that we're being responsible in what we're doing, it can be gone next year. So it really is making sure I'm doing everything properly.
So it'll be your expectation that you reduce your foot traffic through the use of the internet sales.
Through, like I said, through COVID, yeah, predominantly because everyone obviously was getting it delivered. But I still think now, predominantly, I think it's a candy store. Like kids still want to go to a candy store. I still think adults want to go see what's there. And I don't know, like, yes, people who know what they want, whether it's Maker's Mark or Kendall Jackson, they'll get it delivered. But I think predominantly it's still an in-person thing. I think it's the experience that people like about a wine and spirit shop.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, sir. Hope I answered that. I apologize if it was.
Yeah, no, that was fine.
Any other council comments or questions? Councilmember Zimmer.
Yes, Mr. Randall, thank you for your presentation. It looks like your concept might be similar to a Friar Tuck's or a Total Wine. Is that, are those kind of what you see as competitors, perhaps?
Yeah, I'd probably say they are competitors. In their own right, I think we do different. Like, I think our staff is truly on top of what we're doing. I mean, Total has their own model. I think Friar Tuck as well too. But yeah, I would say in regards to a similar format, yeah.
Okay.
In regards to a bigger box store, but I think in regards to staying up to date, trying to be on the cutting edge, whether it's obviously the craft spirits that a lot of the restaurants are using for mixology, like that's kind of where I like to be, because I think that's what's fun about the industry. What's new, what's coming out, educating consumers. I think that's truly what we do a good job of, or at least our staff does. I got to give them the credit.
Yeah. So it kind of gives us an idea of what kind of atmosphere you'll have in your location. So.
Yeah. And that's why I try to provide some of those pictures too. And you can always look up online, obviously, some of the pictures of our other locations as well too, whether it's West County or downtown, in regards to that. And then also put those pictures on there in regards to what it would be mocked up as.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Anything else from council at this point? All right. Seeing nothing, do we have anyone wishing to speak on this public hearing, Freddie?
I do not see any hands raised.
Thank you. Any final things from council? I'll just make a comment. I really like that picture of somebody sitting and hanging out on some barrels of wine. Get it, my, you know.
Trust me, I would love. That's probably one of our best suppliers, family Guidi from Italy, who the one son doesn't speak a lick of English and is the winemaker, and then his brother pretty much travels all around the world and sells it. And some of the stuff they've made for us, like their Chianti and Chianti Classicos, are phenomenal. But in the market today, it's tough for those small companies like that to get in, just because the big have only gotten bigger and they get pushed out. So trying to give them a chance again.
Gotcha. Very good.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, with that, this public hearing is closed, and this item will be on our new business agenda on May 6th. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Amy.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for the time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now we will go on to public comments.
The public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the city council to listen to comments from citizens. It is not a question and answer session, and the city council will not respond to comments or answer questions during this period. The mayor may refer any matter brought up to the city council to the chief administrative officer or city clerk if action is needed. If there's anyone wishing to make a public comment, if you will please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Laurie. Freddie, do we have anyone wishing to speak?
There are no hands raised.
All right. Then we will move on to our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Motion passes. We move on to unfinished business, Bill 10873.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance appropriating donations received from Kirkwood resident Zach Wagner in the amount of $14,716 to the Dasher Board advertising account and then to the small capital machinery and equipment account, accepting the quote of Nevco Incorporated in the amount of $14,715.42 for the purchase of 2 new scoreboards for the community center ice arena.
Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey.
Yes.
All right, bill passes. Bill 10874.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance adopting a revised City of Kirkwood classification and pay plan.
Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey.
Yes.
Bill passes. Bill 10875.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance amending the Kirkwood Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 7, Boards and Commissions by adding a new Division 4 Youth Advisory Commission and redesignating the subsequent divisions accordingly.
All right, any questions or comments on the bill? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey.
Yes.
All right, bill passes. Move to new business, Bill 10876.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance amending the provisions of the Municipal Code, Chapter 25, Zoning and Subdivision, regarding revisions to the permitted use category for multiple family dwellings in the B2 General Business District and revising the Downtown Master Plan and Parking Studies Framework Plan accordingly.
Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
A second?
Second.
Second.
All right, this was the topic of the public hearing last meeting. Any questions or comments on the bill? All right, seeing none, all in favor of first reading, please say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Bill passes first reading. Bill 10877.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance appropriating $7,642 from the Equitable Sharing Fund balance to the machinery and equipment account for the police department.
Is there a motion for approval?
Move
So
approval.
moved.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the bill? All right, seeing none, all in favor of first reading, please say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Bill passes first reading. We will move on to city council reports. Anyone have anything to report? We see nothing other. I was just going to mention that on Saturday, April 24th at 9 a.m. at the Performing Arts Center, we'll have the Arbor Day tree planting. So a week from Saturday at 9 a.m. at the Performing Arts Center. All right. Chief Administrative Officer report.
No report at this time, Mayor.
All right. City Attorney report.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
All right. City Clerk report.
I don't really have anything to report besides that the April 21st meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission was canceled due to lack of business.
Okay.
So.
All right. We have no upcoming public hearings scheduled.
No.
No. All right. Well, the next meeting of City Council will be in 3 weeks. This is one of those 5 Thursday months at 7 p.m. May 6th via Zoom. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks all.